A day we will remember forever as Michigan football fans. Jim Harbaugh will, in fact, not coach against Ohio State or Maryland, as Michigan and the Big Ten released a statement moments ago that said they have agreed to drop the investigation. Jim Harbaugh not admitting and the Big Ten acknowledging that he had no information into the Connor Stalions spying scandal in exchange for Jim Harbaugh accepting the original 3-game suspension. Harbaugh will not coach Saturday against Maryland. He will not be on the field in any circumstances at this point. There's no court case tomorrow. There is no going to an appeals court or anything like that going to happen next week. Jim Harbaugh will not coach Michigan for the next 2 games. We'll tell you about what it means for potential Big Ten championship. Is he going to be able to coach in the CFP? All coming up right now in the Michigan Football Report. But join me in the comments. I am so pissed off that the Big Ten, something that no other conference would do, would come down on their undefeated national championship favorite team this late in the season. Completely unjust and undue, not having due process before the NCAA stops their investigation or finishes their investigation. F the Big Ten. I hope Michigan leaves the Big Ten as soon as they can. Type it in the comments as you're getting ready for more information from me on this story. Go down there. Type it 5 times. Type it in capital letters. I am fired up. No Jim Harbaugh against Maryland. He will not be the head coach against Ohio State. And gosh, what do we got now? 9 days? In 9 frigging days. So Jim Harbaugh to remain suspended. This dropped. And I was on a phone call with a real estate agent thinking about getting Chat Sports a new office next year, something like that. Boom, I get sent the message. If I'm Andy Staples, is the first one to just screenshot the email that Michigan sends out to all media. I hadn't looked at my email yet. Here's what the statement said on Jim Harbaugh and his suspension. This morning, the University, Coach Harbaugh, and the Big Ten resolved their pending litigation. The conference agreed to close its investigation, and the University and Coach Harbaugh agreed to accept the 3-game suspension. Coach Harbaugh, with the university's support, decided to accept this sanction to return the focus to our student athletes and their performance on the field. So what I read from this, guys, and I am one of the great dot connectors of all time, right? You see something happen. We told you on Tuesday in the live show. We told you on Instagram on Tuesday. We put a video out yesterday. This has been going on for the last couple days, trying to come to a resolution. The Big Ten didn't want to go to court. They didn't want that bad black eye of a top program in their conference suing them, right? Michigan didn't want to go to court because if they lost, then what happens, right? It seems like there's a lot of conversations, but I think something was given to the NCAA from their investigation to the Big Ten that had not previously been, that that allowed the Big Ten to stand firm and Michigan to think that, hey, there's probably a 50% chance or less, like I told you a couple days ago, that they are going to get the temporary restraining order in court on Friday morning. So they decided, hey, let's just bury all the bodies. You accept the suspension. We won't keep investigating. Wipe our hands there. But I think it's an absolute disgrace to the competitive balance of the Big Ten. Guys, we're sitting at 29,200 subscribers. I hope this news and getting past us and focus on Ohio State in 9 days can get us to 30,000 subscribers. We are about 800 away. Join the 29,200 Michigan football fans who subscribe. And she's like the 750,000 who have watched us in this show in some way this football season. Hit that subscribe button. If you're a Michigan football fan, also send that link, youtube.com/MichiganTV, to any of your friends that want high-quality video content here on YouTube regarding Jim Harbaugh's and now Sherrone Moore's Wolverines football team. Let's keep it rolling here. So, as we said, negotiations started on Tuesday morning with some lower, not lower level, but not Tony Petitti, not Santaono, not even Ward Manuel, second-level people at the Big Ten and Michigan to try and put this behind him. There was some thought when Fox got into the discussion on Wednesday that Michigan and the Big Ten were going to squash this thing. Harbaugh was going to do basically what he did now. He's going to accept the suspension, not fight it anymore. And in exchange for that, the Big Ten were going to reduce it from 3 games down to 2, Penn State and Maryland. My opinion here, this is not based on any sources or inside info, it's just my general opinion at this point. Breaking news, we don't know everything right now, is that the Big Ten wasn't budging on that 3-game suspension because something materially has changed in the past 48 hours since these conversations started happening on Tuesday. My gut tells me on this is that the Big Ten continued their investigation. They were in the NCAA, they've been in Ann Arbor for the past few days, right? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, end of last week, talking to players, talking to other support members, talking to staff members. and they had some information, the NCAA, that they gave to the Big Ten since last week when they suspended Jim Harbaugh at 3:26 p.m. on Friday, that Michigan just couldn't refute and honestly probably did not want to come and see the light of day. So they agreed to the suspension to keep Jim Harbaugh out. What could be the most watched college football game, regular season one, in the history of the sport coming up in 9 days. Michigan clearly wasn't confident in the temporary restraining order going back a few days, right? When it didn't happen on Friday, and this judge stretched it out to this Friday, Michigan was going to have to be scrambling regardless. Jim Harbaugh would go to court on Friday morning. If he got it, it might take several hours for the paperwork to be processed for him to even be confident to get on that plane. And what happens if he didn't, right? I think Harbaugh is probably looking out in some ways for the sake of the players. Get this past them. Let them know what they're playing for. They are playing with Sherrone Moore as the coach. They're playing for a Maryland win and a win against Ohio State to bring Jim Harbaugh back onto the field for what could be a 3-game run to a national championship. I'll ask you guys this question, though. Can Michigan beat Ohio State without Jim Harbaugh? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Just give me a yes or a no. Let me know what you guys think. Can Michigan beat Jim Harbaugh 9 days from now? Can Michigan beat Jim Harbaugh? Can Michigan beat Ohio State without Jim Harbaugh? I think they can. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what the game plan is going to look like. I don't know how much Harbaugh is going to dictate exactly what happens in a scripted play, but I think they can do it. But an offer to Jim Harbaugh. He's not going to be watching the game from the sidelines as Michigan's football coach next Saturday against Ohio State. So the offer that I am putting forth to Jim Harbaugh is let's have some entertainment. Let's put some money in the pockets of Michigan football players. Chat Sports, company here, we will donate $250,000 to whatever Michigan NIL fund that Jim Harbaugh or whoever wants us to in exchange for Jim Harbaugh to let us to have a camera in his house or wherever he wants and be mic'd up and on camera with me or with whoever, just by himself. I don't care. The entire Michigan and Ohio State game live. $250,000. I think it'd be one of the most watched streams in YouTube history. And put $250,000 in an NIL fund. Jim, do you want to do it? An offer has been put out there from Chat Sports, from James Yoder to you. Come on YouTube, just kind of sit in the hot seat, be mic'd up, react, talk, etc., entertain, kind of like the Manning cast. We'll call it the Harbaugh cast. Michigan, Ohio State live watch party with Jim Harbaugh. Put $250,000 in the pockets of Michigan football players, athletes, whoever you want around the university. The offer is on the table. Continue on the story, Jim Harbaugh out against Maryland and Ohio State. And the Big Ten, I think the secondary news out of this, but maybe equally as important, it depends on what they would find and what happened. The investigation's over. So they are not going to continue to probe, but that doesn't mean the NCAA investigation's over. Ironically, and I don't know if this is connected yet, but Coach Steve Clinkscale, Michigan's technical co-defensive coordinator, but really the secondary coach, deleted his Twitter account earlier today. Now, I'm not saying that has anything to do with the situation, but that does seem kind of a weird coincidence that this would come out. Maybe the Big Ten has more information. Clinkscale. So no information here, but just keep an eye out. What if he's not on the sidelines? Maybe something came out that he knew something. I think something had to be in the Big Ten and the NCAA's findings over the last few days that they put in front of Harbaugh, in front of Ward Manuel, in front of Santaono that said something has changed. And I think it could be that they knew specifically that someone either on the staff or very close to the Harbaugh and coach staff inner circle was aware of what Connor Stalions was doing. How about the Big Ten title game? All right. The Big Ten title game, per this agreement, the original 3 games stands. Jim Harbaugh will be eligible to coach in the Big Ten title game should Michigan take care of business against Ohio State coming up next Saturday, and available for, of course, the college football playoff. You beat Ohio State, you win that game, you are on to Pasadena probably, and then Houston or bust. So light up the comments, guys. Light up the comments. We've already got F the Big Ten. Light them up with some free Harbaugh down below. While you go down there, scroll down. Let me get through a quick ad read so we can pay that $250,000 NIL bill that we're going to give when Harbaugh joins us. Go down, type free Harbaugh while we present this sponsor today of Prize Picks. They've been with us all football season. They're going to give you a $100 deposit match when you go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. and use promo code CLNS. I love Prize Picks. It's super easy to play. I can get my picks in every single day. I put them in for Thursday Night Football, put them in for Monday, Saturday, Sunday. You versus the numbers. And the numbers have actually been beating me a little bit the last couple of weeks. You can mix and match sports. I can have a player in the NFL, an NBA, etc. They got a reboot policy. So if someone in your prize picks gets injured, he gets pulled out. If he's injured in the first half, doesn't come back in the second half, taken out of the pick. The other players remain on, and you keep on playing. And Prize Picks offers flex play. I let Jeremy Beedling, a.k.a. Jeremy Chugs, former producer of the show, make my picks this week because I'm on a couple-week losing streak. We've got Coleridge Stroud, more than 1.5 passing touchdowns. The Kelsey brothers, more than a half touchdown themselves. Jalen Hurts, more than a half rushing touchdown. And then C.D. Lamb, he's been going off more than 86.5 receiving yards for the Cowboys coming up this weekend. I mean, C.D. Lamb's been on an absolute heater. That's how simple it is. They just give you stats for players, passing, rushing, receiving, even in basketball, etc., and you just pick more or less. We put $10 down on those 4 picks. If we get them right, that's going to pay out me a $100. And speaking of $100, get your deposit match with Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS. $100 deposit match. I wouldn't tell you this much about Prize Picks this often if I didn't absolutely love it and having so much fun playing it. Get going. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Okay, so the investigation into sign stealing is over. And what they put at the end of that quote, I think maybe is telling on where the mindsets of both the Big Ten, Michigan, Jim Harbaugh may have been. Maybe just Harbaugh in general on this one. But at the end of all this hubbubaloo at the of the last 3 weeks or so, Connor Stalions suspension last Friday, Big Ten's this, Michigan, you cheated, X, Y, and Z. At the end of the day, there's 100-plus football players that have got to play a game coming up in less than 2 days. And so Jim Harbaugh is going to let them focus on the players and their season in front of them. And I think that's probably, maybe now that they've got some closure, he's decided to accept the sanction and return the focus to our student athletes and their performance on the field. And maybe that's the best thing that comes out of that. Michigan is favored now. What did it say, Jack? It dropped by a half point? Half point. So now it's down to, was it 19.5 spread? Half points, was that in the spread or the over-under? 12 over-under. So over-under drops by a half point after this news comes out, but the spread hasn't changed. Michigan, a 19.5 point favorite. I'll be at this game, win number 1,000 for this program, but it's going to be without Jim Harbaugh. I certainly hope they give him the win as head coach, and they don't say, hey, this doesn't count because you weren't actually on the sideline. I think as the head coach of the program, he should get credit for that. But it's an absolute travesty, I think. It's unfair to Jim Harbaugh. I hope Michigan uses this as the fuel that burns that fire that helps them kick Ohio State's ass, the likes that we have never seen, 62-10 or something like that. Goes on, crushes whoever in the Big Ten championship, let's say it's Iowa, and goes and keeps these players motivated, dead focused. Harbaugh's back for that Big Ten championship game. You go out to Pasadena as the number 1 and number 2 seed in the CFP. You take down whoever they put in front of you right there, and then you go to Houston, and you maybe have one of the greatest seasons. If they would make a movie about this entire season, if Michigan has 2 3-game suspensions for Jim Harbaugh, 6 of the first 12 games, and he does not get to coach against Ohio State, does not get to coach against Penn State. Michigan wins those games, they go on to win a national championship. That would be one of the greatest stories I think we've ever seen in sports. Jack, who do you think would play you? Who do you think would play me?
I honestly, you're throwing me for a loop here right now. I have no idea. I'm going to give you Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling.
I'm going to give me. I don't know.
How about this? One of Jim Harbaugh's sons will play you. The other one, not the coach, the younger one. I think his name is actually James. He plays you. He's not even an actor, but maybe could. I'm going to go Justin Timberlake. I mean, why not?
Okay, yeah, that works. That works.
But,
well, I don't know. I was throwing out a name. I was throwing out a name.
Yeah, Gosling I would take, but I think he's probably too good looking even for me, of course. But, guys, we will have content after the game on Saturday. We'll put out a video tomorrow on Friday. Light up the comments. Let me know what you guys are thinking as Michigan plays Maryland. Without Jim Harbaugh, Sherrone Moore will continue on as the interim coach. I think this is one of the most spineless and sickening and saddening moves that maybe we've ever seen in the history of college football. Don't go out and punch walls or anything. Just take it for what it is. Fuel that fire to a Michigan football win this Saturday, next Saturday, and on through January 8th in Houston. So I'll see you guys next time. Go Blue.